Hey there, interwebs. I hope you're all doing well. So I have just quite literally gotten back from the movies, and I went and spent my money on a good ticket to see Fast X. A good ticket. I was trying to do like an old time. It's like I went down to the movie theater and I paid a quarter to see a movie. I was trying to like do that, but I went with like good ticket. I don't know. Anyways, I saw the latest Fast and Furious film, and I love those movies. I've seen every single one. I've even seen like the small short interstitial films between like Fast and Furious 1 and 2 and 2 and 3. I'm that kind of dork. I love them. They're just over-the-top, ridiculous movies that I just enjoy. They're by no means high cinema, but I like them. That being said, I did watch this film and had a sort of interesting reaction to Jason Momoa's performance within the movie. I won't spoil the whole film for you, but one aspect of the movie is that Jason Momoa, surprise, surprise, is the villain of the film, and he's great. I love Jason Momoa going all the way back to his Stargate Atlantis days. He's phenomenal. He will always be Ronin in my heart. But one thing I thought was really cool about his performance was the risk that he took, where he played a very kind of flamboyant character, which is a very different type of villain for the Fast and Furious franchise. A lot of the Fast and Furious franchise is built upon like hyper-masculine identities, kind of stemming from, Dominic Toretto, Vin Diesel, and even like characters like The Rock and well, not characters, the human beings like The Rock, but like the performance of masculinity that he puts on. So that even like a lot of the female characters in the film also kind of end up performing that like sort of like masculine, like toughness idea. Like Charlize Theron's character kind of gives off that air. Michelle Rodriguez as well. And you know, there's discussions to be had about how the good and bad ways that Fast and Furious discusses masculinity, because I think there's a lot of positives in the masculinity that it shows in the films as well. But for you know, this manly man, you know, Jason Momoa, to play a more flamboyant character within this masculine film, I thought was really interesting. And not only that, I just thought it was a lot of fun and over the top, and it also just showed Jason Momoa's range. It's just something I've never seen him do before, and I thought that it was just really cool to see him like stretch in that way. So I think that ultimately was like a really fun aspect of the film that I just really enjoyed. And yet at the same time that I was watching the film, I also felt complicated about it, because I love a queer-coded camp villain. And Jason Momoa's character in the film isn't expressly gay, but he does sort of give off that queer-coded vibe that you would see a lot of characters who are like coded as gay back in like even going to today, quite obviously. And it left me feeling complicated, because it's while I love queer-coded camp villains, especially in older films where I like understand the context of like queer people not being able to be explicit in films often because of the Hays Code or things like that. Coming into the Fast and Furious franchise, it makes me uncomfortable, because this is a film franchise that, to my memory, and I might be misremembering, it's been a hot minute since I've watched all of them, does not have an expressly queer character within it. And so to have this character that uses a lot of the queer coding, and be very flamboyant and over the top, and have it be the villain of the piece as well, and have that be your only sort of like queer adjacent representation within the franchise, leaves me uncomfortable, because it does sort of play into that like queer, like the Hays Code sort of thing of like queerness needing to be evil, needing to be punished. I think we've hit a time where we need to be demanding more queer explicitly queer representations within our films in ways that aren't just like, hey, peck on the cheek performative stuff that like Disney does a lot of the time with like the Marvel movies or Star Wars films, but in ways that like a character just exists as a human being but is also not undeniably like gay, like mentioning partners, or just existing as a whole human being, you know, not necessarily having to be like, hi, I'm the gay one, or like making a big gay moment, but just existing as gay. And so you could argue that Jason Momoa is that, but in a way that is very over the top and cartoonish, and also placing him into the villain role. But I also, again, am at conflict with that because of all the things that I like about the performance. Momoa's range, the fact that it is sort of a different form of masculinity within this hyper-masculine franchise, and things like that. So it's an interesting sort of place that I sit within thinking about his performance within the film. And I'm not here to condemn it, nor am I here to say it's, you know, overly praiseworthy. It's just something that sitting there watching, I was like, this is interesting, and it's making me feel complicated feelings. And this is why I like art. You know, people say that Fast and Furious can't make you think, but I think ultimately films like this kind of can be revealing of a lot of things that I've been discussing. You know, masculinity, how we think about it, how we think about queerness within that, how we think about femininity within that, and how it's displayed. It's honestly really interesting. And also thinking about family and how much I want a Corona right now. Anyone have a lime? Anyone want to have a barbecue? Ooh. Damn.